It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top, right hand from my boy, double jab, who's the king of violence?
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, he did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're live, according to sources at least. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh with you here. The Major League Baseball trade deadline is coming to a close. Big-time major news that sees the Los Angeles Dodgers, the World Series favorites, acquire Jack Flaherty from the Detroit Tigers. Right now, it is quiet on Blake Snell. The report is that Garrett Crochet will not be traded off the Chicago White Sox, which would mean, again, the best available pitcher ends up on the LA Dodgers. It is incredible the way that this team moves. We are trying to keep our eye on everything that is going on here, and we will reset what we have seen up until this point with the trade deadline. But, of course, I am sure plenty of you are still Olympic crazy. So let's just get an eye what we saw today from a medals perspective. Japan still top dog with the golds. This is updated within the last hour or so. I know there are some events getting underway about 15 minutes ago here. But again, gold medals right now. Japan with 7 on the board is at the top. USA is going to still have plenty of time to put more gold medals on the board. And if you take a look at the updated medal count for the United States, who, again, from a gold perspective, does not make the cut, but from a total medals perspective, still the typical dominance that we've come accustomed to. 11 silvers, 11 bronze, 26 total, as we do know that the United States was favored to have the most gold medals, but also favored to have the most total medals, which is certainly the case right now. What we are seeing here is some of the final details coming in from this Jack Flaherty deal, which is going to be your main market mover. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, this is really interesting, right? Glasnow's back. He goes tonight for L.A. Kershaw's back in the rotation. You would think they want to round that out with Yamamoto or Walker Buehler. Well, now that you've acquired Jack Flaherty, that is going to be, I think, an expected rotation piece. And I think right now for this baseball team, the idea will be Jack Flaherty, Glasnow, and 2 of the 3 being Yamamoto, Walker Buehler, and Clayton Kershaw will round out their rotation. But I don't know. Gavin Stone, I mean, they've got a million arms. If anything, this is just important as the Dodgers try and make that push towards, all right, towards a top spot potentially in the National League. We know they are trying to compete with the Philadelphia Phillies for that top spot. I do think to a degree, and We know with the baseball deadline that some deals can continuously trickle in. We might get news probably at least up until around 7 p.m. I would say at that point you could call off really anything big time happening. But it feels like somewhat the story is who wasn't moved. And maybe why this Jack Flaherty deal feels so big time is we did not see Blake Snell moved off the San Francisco Giants. For my money, I thought Blake Snell had the chance to be the most game-changing piece dealt here at the deadline. Blake Snell coming off of a 15 strikeout performance in his most recent outing with the San Francisco Giants and is the reigning NL Cy Young winner. If Blake Snell landed on a Baltimore Orioles, a New York Yankees, a New York Mets, and Atlanta Braves, all of a sudden that really changes the equation for those baseball teams. Right now, it doesn't look like Snell is going to go. We have been given word Garrett Crochet will not be dealt. How much of this is the White Sox kind of saying, all right, listen, is this year a nightmare? It's a nightmare's nightmare. My goodness. I mean, this is Freddie Krueger and Jason having a party right now in the south side of Chicago. But for Garrett Crochet, a young pitcher, the future could still be bright. The White Sox did not need to make a deal right now. There is time on their side. And Crochet didn't necessarily make things easy on Chicago with kind of some demands and wanting some security. I know that upset some people. Nonsense. Garrett Crochet is a pitcher. Look around you. They drop like flies, unfortunately. So for Garrett Crochet to try and get himself some protection, I thought that made all the sense in the world. But he's going to stay with the Chicago White Sox here. Eloy Jimenez will not. That's the big move for the Baltimore Orioles as they bring in Eloy Jimenez. And I think if you are Baltimore, you take a swing on upside here with Eloy Jimenez, right? Obviously, he's flashed some, real pop with that Chicago franchise. And for the White Sox as a whole, you really look at, that core that was supposed to kind of carry them for a while. When you think about Louis Robert, who, again, doesn't look like he'll be dealt today. You go back to when it was Tim Anderson lighting it up, the whole deal. But, again, at the end of the day, what we have here is a move, not a move happening, actually, for Chicago, which is going to be Eloy Jimenez finding himself with the Baltimore Orioles. One of the bigger deals today was the Padres calling up the Miami Marlins and getting Tanner Scott. Big-time prospects on the move here. And, again, won't miss him. Come on now. We know that. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. But Tanner Scott is a guy that the Padres hope can really shore up their bullpen as San Diego's looking to make that postseason push. I think you can tell right now with the state of that wild card race, the idea is it is open. And the idea is a guy like Tanner Scott can come in, close games down for San Diego, and they can make a push alongside a team like the Mets, a push alongside a team like the Atlanta Braves. Your other big deal today that did happen with the Miami Marlins involved, of course, Trevor Rogers. It brings the Baltimore Orioles back into the fold here. It's another high upside swing. I think to some degree you look at the moves made by the Orioles, and it's representative of where they are at this moment. This is an Orioles team that could win a World Series this year, but they are not World Series or bust. They have a lot of time on their side, and Trevor Rogers is a young pitcher who has some control. And I think that's kind of the MO for the Baltimore Orioles with the deals that we have seen. It doesn't look like any other news has come out since we've gotten underway here, so we'll see right now. Maybe we are done at this point in time with the deadline. We did see one more Miami Marlins move. Congrats, Miami. Kings of the deadline. Busy day for our very own Craig Mish, no doubt about it. That's Brian De La Cruz, goes over to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And you know the story is here. If the Pittsburgh Pirates are making deals, come on now. They want in. They want a playoff spot. Why wouldn't they? If they get in, game number one, guess who's favored? Pittsburgh, no matter what. Have we seen any, unless they are in L.A. against Glass now? I mean, really, you want a fun exercise? You tell me how many situations Paul Skeens isn't favored in. The kid was $150 yesterday, minus 150 in Houston against a hot Astros club. Got the win. He didn't get the win, but the Pirates got the win. Paul Skeens, by the way, second choice now to win the NL Cy Young, with Zach Wheeler getting blasted by the New York Yankees offense there. Mets made a move. That's Paul Blackburn of the Oakland Athletics, a one-time All-Star, heads over now to Queens. Gorgeous place, perfect place, wonderful place. It's where the Mets play their baseball, and it's now where you're going to see Paul Blackburn play his baseball here, as the Mets are obviously in the hunt as they look to chase down, hold off a back-and-forth battle with the Atlanta Braves, who went to a familiar face. Jorge Soler ends up back with the Braves off of the San Francisco Giants, and for Atlanta, they needed to make moves. I will tell you this. I was hoping that we were going to see, I was really, really hoping that we were going to see this team make a big splash in the Atlanta Braves, because I have a bet on this team to win the National League. We talked about this at the deadline. It's been a tough run at it now for Atlanta. If you want to reset where your NL market is, which is, again, probably fluctuating a little bit due to that Jack Flaherty, so this will give people an idea. This is probably going to get on the move a bit. Dodgers, Phils, drop down. Braves, drop down. Milwaukee, drop down. And then you kind of get that next tier with the Padres, the Mets, and the Arizona Diamondbacks still getting love. We'll talk American League. We'll talk World Series. Oh, yeah, by the way, we'll talk dingers. We got 4 of them. We've got other baseball picks. We're locked in with you live right here. It's Game Time Decisions on SportsGrid.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and I have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Compound fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Nookamania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, so we are here with you on MLB Trade Deadline Day. A few pieces that kind of rolled in. Mark Canha with the San Francisco Giants. Louis Garcia, the bullpen arm for L.A. The Angels, goes to the Boston Red Sox. Austin Slater leaves Cincinnati and heads to the Baltimore Orioles. So there are a couple of moves that we've seen. Tanner Banks ends up with the Philadelphia Phillies here as well. So a couple, again, additional pieces that have trickled in with the Major League Baseball deadline. But again, somewhat, for me, the story. No Snell, no Garrett Crochet, and the big name that moved was Jack Flaherty to the LA Dodgers. Man, the more things change, the more things stay the same. Let's talk some home runs. Let's talk some dingers, but also Let's talk some Mark Vientos, shall we? Come on now. We got a quick pick here on Vientos over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI. A righty smashing righties at plus 115. I think you're getting a really nice number here. He's batting .300 against right-handed pitching against the Twins today. And this, to me, just quickly allows me to mention yesterday, as I played some under 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Now, listen. Bad day to go down that road when overs were 11-1 on the Major League Baseball slate. But really one of the things that just jumps right off of the card, it's so expensive. I mean, again, Vientos qualifies here in every way imaginable. Not a ton of markets do you feel like, man, betting the over is where you get the value, right? Where you're getting a better swing at it. I think that's still the case with Major League Baseball, man. So I do think that Mark Vientos here, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBI at plus 115 is a strong look. And I don't mind if you look his direction, Dinger Tuesday, there's some juice inside that Mets lineup from the back end of it, right? Harrison Bader's been great against righties. And then all of a sudden, if Lindor, Alonso at the top of that lineup could catch one, it's not a bad idea. Let's look at Pete Alonso with some other top guys today in the home run prices that we see. The under 3-1 crowd, I know these numbers can shift a little bit throughout the day. That's Judge, that's Ohtani, that's Soto. First time for me, probably in about a month, I'm not going to play Ohtani on a Dinger Tuesday. I think he had got the job done 2 in a row. Didn't get the job done the last one out. For me, it's just against Waldron. It doesn't overly qualify. It's also not a great game with Glass now going for L.A., so I'm backing off that game. The short number I am playing, you won't see it on my Dinger Tuesday card, but again, we know that Dinger Tuesday is over on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, what we have there is just a little plus 100, anyone to hit a home run. So I slapped that on Jordan, since he's the shortest guy I'm interested in today. Took him to plus 410 over on that book. But again, a lefty smashing lefties against J.P. Sears, or not J.P. Sears, Bailey Falter for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think Jordan Alvarez certainly qualifies. You get that Marcell Ozuna number. I mean, this guy, Bobby Witt Jr., but my, oh my. I mean, he is doing his best to make it a race with Aaron Judge. He's an electric player. Grand slam yesterday. I think maybe went 3 for 4 at the dish, 4 for 5. He had 2 superstar plays as well at short in the 9th inning to end that game against the Chicago White Sox. Look, you can't knock Bobby Witt. I do think somewhat taken for granted, though, was Judge took Zach Wheeler deep as one of his 2 home runs in the game. And yesterday the story was Bobby. And I'm not saying that Judge doesn't get enough coverage, but I think Bobby being in the race doesn't mean he's in first and doesn't mean he's undervalued. Aaron Judge is pushing up against once is again another incredible season. The guy on here that I am using, Dinger Tuesday, it's our boy Gunnar Henderson from the Baltimore Orioles at that plus 420 number, going up against Bassett, whatever heck remains from that Toronto team. I do like Bassett here. To give up a couple of long ones, and specifically to Gunnar Henderson. Gunny's still rocking righties this year. Bassett's struggles come against the left-handed side of the dish. Similar story for Luis Castillo. Man, when we talk best rotations in baseball, so often it's the Seattle Mariners that get called upon. But one of the hesitation points for me is Luis Castillo has not been anywhere near the caliber of guy that he once was while in that Mariners uniform or even with the Cincinnati Reds. He struggled against lefties this year. That total's big time at Fenway, 10.5. And Rafi Devers, man, he has just been nuking ones all season long against right-handed pitching. Plus 340 for Rafael Devers. Let me get Corey Seager, plus 320 going up against Lance Lynn for the Texas Rangers. I think Corey Seager's has himself a great opportunity. It's been a little while since we've seen Seager go deep, but he's still red hot at the dish, batting well over 300 his last 2 weeks, month of baseball. So I'm happy to have Corey Seager on that card. And then we close it out. Ketel Marte, plus 390. Here's the story with tonight's game between Arizona and Washington. Any righty with a pulse. Anyone with a pulse who hits righty tonight. Patrick Corbin, disaster. Ryan Nelson, disaster. That total's 9. It does look, even if anything, a tick light. Ketel Marte is my favorite of that bunch at a plus 390 price. I will also let you know from that group, I did play Devers for an RBI at plus 110. Of that, it was my favorite number. But again, those are your Dinger Tuesday picks here. Just quickly before we sit back down and kind of make sure we have everything else settled up here, your World Series odds, and I think we flashed these to kind of give people an idea, and let me see if we can even kind of do a quick comparison of how things were pre-deadline. I think that's kind of important, right? How much movement, what required the books to react, and really, even the Flaherty news, that Dodger number's 3-1. It's the Phillies came back to 5, Yankees still plus 550, Baltimore sits at 7, Braves came back a tick to 12. Houston number is at 13, so they're a little bit of a dropper here. Orioles in real time down to plus 650. But I think that does reflect it's a bit of a quiet deadline here. I think also the Dodgers not dropping under 3-1, at least using the FanDuel number. I don't think it's a slight to Jack Flaherty. I think it says for the books, and the Dodgers are already loaded. Them getting Jack Flaherty is accomplishing them continually staying loaded and nobody else getting him, but it's not a game-changing piece for the Dodgers, which I don't think is a bad take necessarily by the books. It doesn't look like bettors ran to bet LA upon that Flaherty news happening. Let's continue to knock it down here, though, with you. We're live with you on SportsGrid. We'll be right back.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments. Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Left hand from Ron Paul. Right hand right back from Mike Perry. Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and I have my respect, and I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top. Right hand from Perry, double jab. Who's the king of violence?
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're back with you right here on a Tuesday night. Looks like everything's calmed down baseball-wise. Orioles got Gregory Soto off of the Philadelphia Phillies. So a lot of stuff happened, but again, was there a single All-Star, this season All-Star traded? I don't believe so. So again, it's not a record-breaking. I know people are excited, but I'm not trying to downplay it, but it's also from the market, right? We just kind of went over it. Nothing crazy game-changing. Tanner Scott would be the big one there, certainly for San Diego. All right, let's talk a little Olympic hoops. Again, we know that this is where the action is coming in, and it was another strong day personally Again, I try and just lock people in. The hours are super weird. But, at Kevin Walsh, you guys know that. I just try and, get in the mix with you guys as we can. Just what happened today, what mattered today? Well, we almost had the biggest result by far of this tournament, which was Japan upsetting France. If that would have happened, France then would have gone into a game against Germany, maybe as a dog. The game's going to be closely lined regardless, and very well their Olympic lives could have been on the line. Instead, 4-point play ties the game. They get into overtime, and they win it in overtime against Japan, along with the fact that Rui Hachimura was thrown out off of what was probably an overreaction to a foul call. Look, France is unbelievably lucky to still be 2-0 in this group. Victor Wembanyama with a double-double, 18 and 11. Rudy Gobert had a big rebounding game with 15. Kamawara was brilliant as well, though. 29 points, led the way for Japan. It is a bit of a tough break on anybody that had bet Rui Hachimura to lead that game in scoring. He went over his prop, but to lead that game in scoring, he ended up not doing that due to being thrown out. 24 points in 28 minutes of work there for Hachimura. But in terms of leading things in scoring, this is, to me, the second biggest thing that we saw on today, or maybe arguably the biggest thing, which is Greece losing to Spain. Greece only a 4-point favorite. I certainly think that loss was on the board, no doubt. It's not like this was it's not France-Japan, right? 17.5, 18.5, 19.5 point line there. Giannis scores 27, goes under a 30.5 points prop, which was pretty overinflated. They did a really nice job, Spain, not fouling. Giannis was 3 of 5 from the line. Those were all the free throws that Greece shot in that game. The game before that, Giannis attempted 15 free throws against Canada. With Giannis scoring 27, he's at 61 total points. Still clearly your PPG leader right now at the Olympics. But now Giannis is favored to only play one more game. The only game remaining is against Australia, and Giannis's incredible performance against Canada had shifted him to the new favorite to lead the Olympics in scoring in front of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Giannis is not leading the Olympics in scoring and while only playing 3 games. He'd have to get you 40, maybe more, and that might not be enough. Truly, it might not be enough against Australia. Now, if they win the basketball game, that could change some things. They could be a third-place team that qualifies, and they're going to be live in that basketball game, but Giannis could be up against it. But here's the other story. By the time markets reopen, I'm not sure Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to be favored to lead his own team in scoring. RJ Barrett's been really good through 2 games. He has led Canada in scoring in both. Outscored Shai by 8 today. He's up 10 on him now in this tournament. While that is not an unclosable gap for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the workload for RJ Barrett shooting the basketball is a bit bigger at this moment right now. Shai is not shooting a lot from 3, which is a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander thing. And now all of a sudden, you have the top 2 guys in Giannis potentially eliminated in the knockout stage, and Shai getting passed by on RJ Barrett, and that really opens it up. Wemby ended up scoring 18 in that game. He'll be in the mix. Franz Wagner for Germany scored 17. He will likely be in the mix, but there's a big opportunity tomorrow for either LeBron James or Kevin Durant to really become the new favorites to lead the Olympics in total points scored. Both of those guys now have scored as many or more than SGA did in Game 1, and I think the expectation is they could certainly push past Shai's number that he put up today against Australia. We'll talk a little Team USA with Tom Vecchio, who joins us in just a moment. Next, right here, we're live on SportsGrid. It's Game Time.
What has happened? What has transpired
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the target for what's happening. Right hand from my boy, double champion. Who's the king of violence?
Combat fighting in its purest form. Bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
We're live right here. It's Game Time Decisions. We're in the mix. Our guy Tom Vecchio stops by with us, as always, on a Tuesday. Tom, I'd love to talk some Olympic hoops, but I got to talk some dingers first, man. It is a Tuesday. People are looking to put some home run wagers in. How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, starting off, we got 2 home runs. It's an interesting slate today. You know, there's a little bit of weather concerns. It's super hot, you know, across the stadiums. Let's get right into it with Marcus Semien at plus 540 for the Texas Rangers. 11 of his 15 home runs have come versus righties going up against Lance Lynn. You know, we look at Simeon's numbers on the season overall, and they're okay. But if we actually boil it down to versus righties in July, it's much, much better. 148 WRC plus. He's got a 230 ISO, and he's trending up. Like, if we looked at a player and he had awesome numbers, but then recently he's been horrible, that wouldn't be good. So at least we have a player who's trending in the right direction, and Lance Lynn is actually trending in the wrong direction. He's actually okay versus righties on the seasons of 0.92 home runs per 9, 38% fly ball rate, 35% hard contact rate. Those are all getting worse as the season has gone on. So we're having like these two players meeting in the middle, hopefully, of Semien trending up and Lance Lynn trending down. It's super hot out in St. Louis. That is great. Next up, let's go to Ketel Marte, plus 420. He has been unbelievable this season. His numbers versus lefties, he's going up against Patrick Corbin tonight, are hilariously good. A 203 WRC plus. He has a 342 ISO and a 51% hard contact rate and a 35% home run to fly ball ratio. Ketel Marte is unbelievable right now versus lefties. We just simply have to take him, and Corbin is terrible versus righties, allowing a 493 slugging and 1.23 home runs per 9.
I feel great. I'm also on Ketel Marte. I cannot back it as well as Tom just did right there, but Ketel Marte, someone that made the card for me. Tom was able to grab him at a tick of a better number, but I worry a little bit less about numbers on a Tuesday. But again, you always certainly want to get the best number
right.
When you're betting the home run props there. Quickly, Tom, before we talk some Olympic basketball, anything from the deadline today move you at all?
It's a little lackluster overall. Like, Jack Flaherty is supposed to be the big move. He goes to the Dodgers, like, surprise, surprise, the rich get richer. Like, it happens every season. Their numbers are probably not going to change dramatically. Like, if you got the Dodgers earlier in the season, it's not going to be any substantially better than it is right now. I think there's no value on the Dodgers to be betting them, but like a bunch of minor moves. I think the Orioles maybe got a little bit better. Nothing jumps off the page. It's like, it is what it is. The Yankees didn't do a whole lot when it comes to the pitching department, which they needed to do. I think that's maybe one of the most interesting things, but kind of lackluster overall.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think that might be the big takeaway is the Snells, the Crochets, Louis Robert, Vladdy Jr., these guys all stayed put. And Flaherty's a big name, but in a way, Flaherty going to the Dodgers is a big thing because, the Dodgers did it again. and it keeps him off any other roster. But also for the Dodgers, that if they get healthy, it could be where he has the least impact. So I think it's a really interesting way that broke out, Tom.
Yeah, like you said, like if Yamamoto comes back and he's fully healthy, Glasnow struggled a little bit over the past few starts, and then what are we going to get from Kershaw? Like how good is he going to be in stretches for what period of time? Like they need him in a sense, but then like you said, if he probably wouldn't be a top 3 starter for them in the playoffs, right? He'd be 4th. It'd be Glasnow, Yamamoto, and Kershaw is 1, 2, 3. So some type of long relief, whatever it might be, you're right. His impact may not be as big as if he went back to the Orioles.
And again, if Buehler's healthy, I mean, is Flaherty 5th? I don't know. And I'm not trying to downplay Jack Flaherty, but this is the Dodger thing. It's also
right.
There's no way they are all healthy when the playoffs begin. It's why they made a move like this. Tom, let's talk some Team USA hoops here, man. And before we get to any picks that you might have for the game against South Sudan, what was your big takeaway from their victory and cover against Serbia?
I was like, business as usual, essentially. Like they got to it. They had a little bit of struggles in the exhibition games. And it's like, all right, rubber hits the road right now. It's time to, just do things the right way. The whole Tatum thing, I think, is a little bit blown out of proportion. It is what it is. Partly with that is kind of my take leading into the next game of where I'll be targeting some props. But ultimately, I'm not too worried about Tatum not seeing a few minutes. I want Team USA to win gold. I don't care personally who's out there, who's not out there, who's seeing the most minutes, who's scoring. I just want them to win.
Yeah, again, from that perspective, yes. I think to some degree, though, one, Team USA is supposed to win, that there always are going to be other stories. And we know these guys, right? Like, this isn't a rallying cry, hey, guys, what's ever best for the team. The reality is I can swap out X, Y, and Z, put in Tatum, and guess what? They still should be able to win unless, and not saying you, but the general you, believe Tatum's not that good. Tatum's wildly overrated, or I guess the nicest way you could put it is Tatum doesn't work on the international level, none of which I would agree with personally, Tom.
No, I wouldn't agree with that either. Like you said, you could swap out Durant for Tatum and then Tatum for LeBron and mix and match them against basically any opponent, and you should be in a good spot. Like I'm totally on board with that take. So yeah, like I think we have to make a storyline out of it because they took control of things and handled things like, start to finish, that we need something else to talk about besides, oh, they dominated. Who's up next?
Yeah, it's, the conversation now is how will they be able to handle South Sudan? Best team they've played so far, 29.5-point favorite, Tom.
Yeah, I'm actually looking to Drew Holiday, under 3.5 rebounds, sitting at minus 104. I think his role in his defensive prowess is probably needed more in the following game. And not only did Tatum not play in that game, Tyrese Halliburton didn't play. So if I'm expecting Holiday to see fewer minutes, someone else is going to be coming off the bench. It's going to be another guard. It's going to be Halliburton. He's going to get some minutes at some point. It's not just going to be Tatum getting those minutes. I think we're going to see, a more diverse rotation and players playing fewer heavy minutes, if that makes sense. So we're going to see more spread out. So that means less opportunity for Holiday and just Halliburton out there doing his thing, getting some minutes. So Tatum and Halliburton props are probably where I'm going to go. And that also means under on Holiday 3.5 rebounds.
Do you have any takeaways from the non-USA portion of the basketball Olympics so far?
I mean, what happened today with Hachimura is a little bit disappointing, but Franz Wagner, I thought he was good with the Magic this year. He constantly fills up a stat sheet. I thought he played like a solid number 2 role to Paulo Banchero, and he looks really good in the tournament so far. So, just getting more experience, showing that he does have that nice scoring ceiling, I think is something that maybe we take into a little bit more trust when it comes to props once the season starts.
Yeah, I think Franz Wagner is a part of a really interesting Orlando Magic team that
we've talked about him before.
The pieces are there. I mean, you've got Franz, Paolo, KCP, and Suggs rounding out a starting lineup of a Wendell Carter Jr. probably starting at the center slot there. You need guys to grow offensively in order for this to work, right? Like, you're right. Franz today, I'm not trying to knock the game. He was 0 for 6 from 3. Like, the Orlando Magic look like they're signing up to be a terrible shooting basketball team, which in 2024 is less than ideal. So those are kind of the things that'll need to be fixed here. Tom, let me ask you this: if you had a feeling, right? And I know that but just who leads Team USA in scoring tomorrow against South Sudan?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's Tatum, but
Really?
I mean, if he starts, who knows? But I'll go. It's not going to be Derek White. I'll go Curry. Maybe knocks down some threes. The game runs away. They have like a kind of spread out rotation, like I said, and no one takes like a huge step forward.
Steph Curry scored 25 points, and I've been eyeing this number up, is plus 1260. I think that is a little bit of a tempting number there if Steph can get going from beyond the arc in a game like this against South Sudan. Tom, appreciate it as always. Best of luck with the home runs tonight.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right, we got Coach James Young stepping up next here. What did Coach take away from the France scare against Japan, and what's he looking for from Team USA? Those answers next.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and I have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we are live with you on SportsGrid. We have Yankees-Phillies underway right now. Alex Verdugo getting the job done with a leadoff double against the Philadelphia Phillies. We had a Vladdy Jr. base knock at the top of the first for Toronto, but he was stranded. Get used to it, Vladdy. Get used to it. Blue Jays should be pretty bad post-deadline. Also, they are going up against Corbin Burns tonight. We will continue to check in with the baseball board. Let's talk some hoops, man. Look at him. Look at him. Coach James Young. Fly as can be. Glasses on. Look at him. He can see it all. He can see it all. Man, JY, so many interesting spots to begin with today's Olympic action. I want to throw to you 4 games. Which game to you stood out the most and why?
It's got to be France's struggle with Japan. I mean, this little point guard looked like a gnat you couldn't kill. He was all over the place. And when it came down to France, listen, at the end of the day, Japan did a really good job of neutralizing, or I guess I could say containing, Wembanyama until he obviously that big 8-0 run. By getting him to not be able to get involved in the pick and roll game, and he wasn't really pulling it from three. I know he got 18 points, but Kevin, it was a very pedestrian 18 points. I did say obviously he would go over his rebound prop, which he did. But to me, that is number one. Number two, oh my God, their guard play. If it wasn't for Strazel, and I'll be honest with you, and hopefully I said his name right, Kevin, I don't even know if that was a foul in the 4-point play. Like, in my opinion, I thought he got into his space. I thought France got away with it. This kid saved them because Evan Fournier was awful. 5 of 18 for the floor. And I would say this, they had some guys do some stuff. The best player on the floor in the game, Kev, scoring-wise, was Rui Hachimura. And if he doesn't get thrown out of that game for that second, intentional foul when he grabbed Gobert in the fourth quarter, Kevin, if Hachimura plays, they beat France. France is damn lucky they escaped that game today.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And, kind of mentioned it today, but I get it, right? But there's a lot of people who just ignored that France had lost 4 games coming into the Olympics. Like I had to listen to hear about USA struggles when they went 5-0, and then tell me that they were going to lose to France. Huh? Tell me that they were going to lose to Canada, who they beat. Huh? That they were going to lose. Who? What are we talking about here, man? This France team does not look like a gold medal threat. Coach, let me ask you this, and I'm going to double check if this line's out. Do you think that and it is out. Germany is a favorite over France on Friday. Do you think that is an overreaction from the odds makers?
No. Germany's playing better. Let's call it what it is. Germany has been playing better basketball. And to me, when you look at the German team, they have, Kevin, it's simply put, and this is showing, we even talked about this with Greece. You could have a great big, right? If you don't have guard play, you ain't gonna win. Guard play matters, right? So when you look at Germany versus, France, who's the best player on the floor as a guard? I think it's Dennis Schroeder, right? Who's the second best player on the floor as a guard? Probably, I can't say his name, Ups, the shooter, right? Who's the third best perimeter player on the floor? Probably Franz Wagner, because I'm going to consider Wembanyama to be a post guy. So you could neutralize the post. So unless Wembanyama steps out, starts bombing threes, and Fournier finds a fountain of youth, Kevin, I don't think it's overreaction. I think it's just. And if the game wasn't in Paris, it would be a bigger point spread for Germany.
Yeah, my first reaction when I see that is I understand the move, but maybe the fact that the game is in Paris isn't being factored in enough, and maybe some juice on France in that game. I do believe France and Germany played one another in the build-up, but I believe they split. We'll dive more into that game when it comes along. You know what? Canada does beat Australia by double digits, but they never looked miles better than this team. And I don't know if that suggests, again, that Canada, and look, they were 6-point favorites, right? They did cover. It came down to the backstretch there, that cover. Dylan Brooks hit a 3 that made this a 10-point victory, 93-83. What did you see from, if anything, or, Canada, Australia? I know this game was super early, but did anything jump off the page to you with this game?
It was just the ability for Canada to, if you just look at, and it's simple, folks, just go look at the shot charts. I mean, Canada was able to get whatever they want inside the lane. And they were able to drive and get to the basket and create. And then obviously, RJ Barrett, hitting 3 threes. I mean, that doesn't happen a whole hell of a lot. But listen, Canada, they pose the biggest threat, right? They pose the biggest threat because of SGA is the top 5 player in the world. RJ Barrett, if he can get to his left, is very effective. And if he hits a 3, he's really, really effective. Lou Dort is a problem defensively, can do some things. And then obviously Dylan Brooks is the ultimate wild card. He could be great, he could be terrible. but they have guard play. But they're not going to be able to drive the ball on us with our shot blockers of Embiid and AD and be able to score. They're going to have to win the game on the perimeter. And I think that's where we are far superior. Simply put, Kevin, if we shoot the ball the way we shot the ball against Serbia, now Serbia's not a strong defensive team. We're rolling everybody. We're rolling everybody. We just have to be able to shoot enough threes to maintain teams that don't shoot it as much. So to me, Canada looked good, but no one's really impressed me. I think the most impressive win so far has been the USA's win over Serbia, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Team USA looks against South Sudan and what that level of lock-in is.
Kill them.
We talk about overreactions as a 14-point move from what that line was when they played in the exhibition. We'll get to that game and everything else with Team USA next with you right here on SportsGrid.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we arrive here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're back right here, Game Time Decisions. We're live with Coach James Young. JY, we've got this Team USA game tomorrow going up against South Sudan. The United States put up 110 points in a victory over Serbia. They covered. It was an over. It was a big-time over. I guess the question, and it's going to impact betting, do you have any expectations for what the rotation will look like for Team USA?
If South Sudan plays the same style, right, with that 5-out kind of pick and roll, pick and pop offense, trying to spread us out, I do think we'll see more of that 4-5 combination of Anthony Davis and Bam Adebayo. I also think you'll see more of Jason Tatum. You need to have more mobile 4/5s that could defend that pick and pop action that South Sudan tries to run, especially the fact that, Kevin, we like to switch 1 through 5. It's a completely different game than Serbia, which the ball went inside and it ran through someone like Nikola Jokic. So I expect a more of an up-tempo game. more of a spread us out type of game and try to attack us off the bounce. I just think we're going to be far better, and I think we're going to be much more prepared for South Sudan, especially early on in that game.
I think for me, I expect Kevin Durant to start. There's just no way they keep bringing him off. Yeah, there's just no way they don't start Kevin Durant. I don't know if they're going to look to make more lineup changes than that. Like, again, Drew Holiday shouldn't be starting on this team. Everybody defending it. It is ridiculous. I don't know why, but fine, whatever. It's what we do. And clearly they aren't going to shift Embiid out. I think there's a big question of what Jason Tatum is going to bring to this table. I expect him to 100% play in this basketball game, but I don't have a gauge for you on how much he plays. In the exhibition against South Sudan, he played 16 minutes. Kevin Durant, in his first game back, played 17 minutes. So I don't have a great gauge for you, JY, on what Tatum does in this game he plays. I don't know if it's more than 10 minutes.
I want to say something really quick about that Tatum situation, because I've been a coach for a long time, and it happens. When you're a head coach, Kevin, you focus on the 5 guys on the floor. You ain't worried about the 7 guys behind you, right? So Tatum not getting in the game, Steve Kerr took the fall. That's on the staff. Hey, you want to get Tatum in? Hey, you want to get Tatum in? We can go small. We can put Tatum in here, blah, blah, blah. And then when it got to the point where it got late in the game, sometimes as a coach, you may be like, is it more of a slap in the face to not play Tatum and me say, hey, I took the fall, or to put Tatum in with 3 minutes left to go in a 25-point blowout? I mean, because if you look at the minutes of the guys, it's not like Derek White played 3 minutes. Everybody else played double-digit minutes, except for him and Halliburton. And we know Halliburton I don't even know Halliburton even wants to be there at this point. So to me, I do think there could be a small part of, oh, crap, we messed up. I'm not going to put this guy in with 3 minutes left to go, because that's honestly, that could have been a worse look than not playing him at all, to be honest.
I mean, I think they said that Kerr told him he might not play.
But even in a 26-point blowout, you got to find him 7-8 minutes in the fourth quarter.
I just think, again, not to like belabor this point, and I want to mention some props that we have for Team USA, but like, how many people think? I really like Devin Booker, by the way. I've been someone who's to the front of the line to tell you he is better than Kevin Durant, right, or at least the best player on the Suns. How many people think that Devin is better than Tatum? Like, it's just very. But again, that's what Team USA thinks. Like, that's where the Tatum stuff gets super interesting. JY, a couple of interesting props here. I wonder if any of this jumps off to the page to you. LeBron, 5 assists in every game, plus 230. LeBron to have 15 points in every game, plus 550. Steph, 3 threes in every game, 7-1. Any USA player, 35 points in any game, 14-1. Any of that look interesting to you?
LeBron to get 5+ assists in every game is very intriguing, because they're going to always play him and space the floor. Kevin, especially if they play LeBron as a 4, you can't stop him. So it's a layup, or you step in front and he punches out. Steph Curry to make 3+ threes at 7-1. He's going to have the shot volume. And if LeBron is the primary ball handler as a point forward and driving the ball, that gives Steph more opportunities for 3. Those are the 2 I like.
Yeah, that Steph one really catches my attention. And again, I will make sure to tweet it out to the people, but I am considering some action on Steph. Maybe 25+ points, plus 1260. They dropped his 6+ threes number more than I was anticipating. Awesome as always from Coach. You got George Kurtz in the mix on a deadline Tuesday.
What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Historic indeed for the KC century. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Early on the tower,
Combat fighting in its purest form. Bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
what's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid. It is a Tuesday night. It is a deadline Tuesday. And help us talk a little bit about what happened and maybe more specifically what did not happen. It's a good buddy of mine, George Kurtz. George, good to talk to you here. We've also got Yankees Phils tied 1-1 right now.
Yeah, we do, right? You and I are big Yankee fans, right? And, you know what? Did the Yankees pull a little bait and switch on us, Kev? I mean, you acquire Chisholm. We all get excited here. All right, here we go here. Oh, Flaherty's coming, right? Oh, at this time, yes, we all thought Flaherty's coming. No. Okay. Well, we're going to get trade Cortez, going to trade Verdugo. What are the Yankees going to do today? Nothing. I mean, okay, they got Mark Leiter. Yippee-yay here. I mean, does Cashman really believe, especially after the injury news about Garrett Cole today, that Cole, Rodon, Stroman, Cortez, and Gill is enough to get you through the playoffs here? Cashman really believe that?
I don't know, George. I don't know, because a part of me says yes, since he didn't make a move, and a part of me says no, since I guess he tried to make a move. It's all a little bit confusing, and I don't think it's a bad place to start, George, because one of the predominant storylines in this deadline is probably as much what didn't happen as what did. The fact that Flaherty, in terms of game-changing starters, was, and that might be generous to Jack Flaherty, he's the only one that was moved. Crochet not moved. Blake Snell not moved. I think Tariq Skubal was a complete pipe dream. I don't think that was ever happening. But were you surprised that Snell and Crochet also ended up standing pat with their current teams?
Crochet, no, because Edison, those comments he made last week, they had to take some people off, right? It's okay. I'm crossing this guy right off the list now. He wants a guaranteed contract right now, or he's not going to pitch in the playoffs. That's going to rub people the wrong way here. Whether he meant it or not, who knows? Maybe there'd be an innings limit anyway where he wasn't going to be able to help you in October no matter what you did here. So maybe that crosses the list off. I don't think Crochet will be on the White Sox come opening day next year. I think he does get traded, but now it's in the offseason here. Was definitely surprised, that Blake Snell. I mean, if you're going to trade Soler, you made a couple other minor deals here. You might as well trade Blake Snell, too. He's pitching very well all of a sudden. Once you traded Jorge Soler, you were saying, okay, we're done this season. I know they're only, 4 games out of a playoff spot here, but you don't trade who is arguably your best hitter and then tell me you're going for it. All right, it doesn't make any sense here. All right, and once again, Snell has a player option next year, so he might not be back with you anyway. So you get what you can for him, but they did not. The prices were outrageous. And we did see that. And as a Yankee fan, we may be mad at Cashman, but we know, what Miami got for Scott today was like, are you kidding me? When did this guy become Mariano Rivera, Dennis Eckersley, and Raleigh Fingers all rolled into one? All right, it was just unreal here. So I think that played a part in it as well. The prices were just enormous. Like you said, I don't think Scuba was ever moving, by the way. I think they were. I applaud the Tigers. Do your due diligence. No one's untradeable. See if someone will make a nuts offer for Schoolboy. Then you can move him. But other than that, he wasn't going anywhere. But yeah, the deadline, it's been a fun trade deadline. It has for the last 4 or 5 days. But today was kind of, okay, what's next? Yeah, we were waiting for the big thing, and it just never happened.
Yeah, it was just rounding it out pieces, if you will, right? Even Jack Flaherty is a rounded out guy for that LA Dodgers rotation, George, to kind of lock in on that move. When that team's fully healthy, now that's a big if, and that may never come through, and that's probably a big part of the reason they made that deal. But Jack Flaherty is what pitcher in this Dodgers rotation if they have the whole group? I mean, he might be fifth, which, again, is great for the Dodgers, but it makes the whole thing really weird.
Well, I think you brought the big word there, if. All right, this is a team that's been shell-shocked this year, right? All right, Glasnow had his injury, but he gets hurt every year. We don't know what Yamamoto's going to bring back, right, when he comes back. Is he going to be that guy that they paid $300 million for? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be a game one starter, game three? I don't think the Dodgers know, right? How can they? Kershaw, okay, you had a good first start. Let's see if you can continue here. Or you're going to have your injury that you get every year. I know that's over a full regular season. He's only pitching for a couple of months here. Walker Buehler, you know, Kev, I wonder if he's that guy. You know, not everyone comes back from Tommy John right away and is perfect. And I wonder if he's just going to need a complete off season before he becomes Walker Buehler. He pitched in the minor league game the other day, got wrecked. All right, he's been getting wrecked really, pretty consistently here. I just don't know if I don't know if Walker Buehler is going to be Walker Buehler here. So I agree with you. If everything works out great, Mookie Betts comes back, Max Muncy comes back, and by the way, all these moves the Dodgers made in the infield make me think Max Muncy ain't coming back no time soon. All right, it's already been incredibly long for a guy who was originally day to day. He's now been out a couple of months here. He's month to month, it seems like here. But they've got a lot of injuries to overcome. And remember, even Mookie Betts, I always worry about a batter who gets a hand injury, wrist injury. Does he have the same strength in those wrist hands when he comes back? Those are tools to a trade, man. Maybe he's not going to be Mookie Betts when he comes back either.
Yeah, I think that's, it's funny. Sometimes the hitting injuries don't resonate with me as much because legitimately, like, they had a full postseason rotation unavailable like 2 weeks ago, right? So that was kind of just such a jarring thing. And that's why I would, in no way is it knocking them getting Jack Flaherty. It also keeps Jack Flaherty off of any other contender, right? Which, maybe the Tigers would have been willing to part for less just to ensure a deal got done, because if you're Detroit, why do you have one of the best, 1-2s in baseball? There's really no point in that, so they make them. But again, that's also why, George, to circle, I know we're bouncing back here, but it was a wild deadline. Like, why do the Giants have arguably a top 3 1-2 in baseball in Blake Snell and Logan Webb, and just nothing comes of it, right? Like, and they traded for Mark Kahn. I'm like, did they forget what was going on today? Did they forget they traded Soler last night? Like, I can't figure out what the San Francisco Giants were doing.
Well, what's the old saying? Baking your cake and eating it too. That's what they were doing. You were trading away and then adding little pieces here. I mean, I know Jeff Passan and guys like that was trying to say, well, the Giants aren't trading out. All right, the Soler thing was more of a salary thing. Okay, that's fine, even if it was a salary thing. But then you were trading out. All right, you can't have it both ways here. You traded your best hitter on a Giants team that, let's face it, has problems hitting. All right, Ramos has come up and been like a godsend for that team. You really have 3 hitters there. Right, you have Ramos, you had Soler, and you had Chapman's done some damage as well of late, but that's it. You don't have much else there. You're trading Soler, which I get it. You weren't going to win the World Series this year. You want to get rid of the salary, fine, do it. But then go full tilt into it. Don't we'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of
little freeze there for our guy George Kurtz, probably just so stunned by the San Francisco Giants. Standing pat and doing it too. And he touched on something that we saw be a conversation here at the deadline of teams doing both. Teams just make deals, man. Baseball's all about making deals. You can be a buyer and a seller. I don't want to be mean, right? I don't want to be mean. Well, what are you talking about, right? Look, I'm not going to act like I am a baseball savant who's known this sport for 50 years. Followed enough trade deadlines to know that there's buyers and sellers. Not, we all just make a bunch of trades and we hope we win the deal. And that's just not a normal thing, right? Again, I'm not saying teams can't do it, but can we I don't know. There was a little, for my liking, George, there was some high and mighty behavior today from some of the baseball media. There was the "you don't know ball" tweet about the Angels prospects they got back. Guess what, pal? You're lying to yourself, because I've seen every George, we can get into this in a moment, too. George is going to stick around. I don't want to cut George short. George, a Yankee fan. You know how many can't-miss prospects the Yanks have? A lot of them. You know how many have missed? A lot of them. Not a lot of Aaron Judges in that farm system. I'll tell you right now, because I'm on the extreme end of it. Jason Dominguez, right? Supposed to make 100 All-Star games. I'd have traded him. I don't care. Let somebody else be disappointed. Instead, there's a chance maybe he ends up like Judge, or he could end up like Glaber, Clint Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Gary Sanchez. You want me to keep going? I can. We're just hitting a break. We'll talk about it all and update the baseball board next.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Left hand from Rockwell. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. What a night. It is historic indeed for BKC fifth century. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Early on the top, right hand from my Perry, double jab, who's the king of violence?
Combat fighting in its purest form. Bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Game time decisions here. Nationals propaganda behind the scenes. Par for the course here on Game Time decisions. Kevin Walsh with you, joined by George Kurtz. I did leave this at the break, so I'll let George touch on it. Maybe I'm being harsh, George, but and I don't think it's a Yankees-only thing where everybody thinks all these prospects are going to be miraculous, and then that ends up not being the case. I think we do this all the time. Like, I understand you have to assign value to the prospects, right? But I think very consistently they are overvalued. And it happens to me every single trade deadline.
Oh, you'll get no argument from me. I think you're 1,000% correct. All right. I think teams do this on purpose. It's the PR machine at work. All right. Every prospect is going to be the next Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, Ty Cobb, all rolled into one. All right. It's just the way it is. And like I said, the Yankees are some of the best teams at that. You already listed, a half dozen ex-Yankees, by the way, that never really amounted to the player that they were supposed to be here. And who's the next big Yankee guy now? It's Jason Dominguez, who will be called up probably within the next 10 days. And then it's going to be Spencer Jones, right, who's the left-handed Aaron Judge. All right, and that's what the Yankees do here. Now, as a Yankee fan, I believe the reason why those two didn't go, or one of those two didn't go, is because I think Cashman knows that there's a good chance they're not re-signing Soto. Or at least there's a chance they're not re-signing Soto, so he's protecting himself. This way he has outfielders next year to play with Judge. Remember, Verdugo's a free agent, Stanton's a DA. So literally right now it's literally Judge and nobody else out there if they can't re-sign Soto here. I want them to re-sign Soto, but I have my doubts that Steinbrenner's going to pay $550 million here. But that's what teams do. It's why I told you during the break, you have to appreciate what A.J. Preller of the San Diego Padres did. He's traded everybody. All right, he doesn't care. All right, he's traded everybody to get Soto, right? And then when he ends up trading Soto away, gets more prospects back and trades everybody that he thinks he can get away with to resupply his team for this year. Now, I'll be the first person to tell you that I think there's some real life in here, Kevin. I think part of the reason why Preller did this is because, well, if my team doesn't do well this year, I'm gone. I'm going to get fired. So what do I care? I don't care if my third best prospect is playing next year or not. I'm not going to be here. So I think there was some of that as well. But Preller's done this throughout, and not just this year, throughout his career as GM. He trades his prospects. He'd rather have somebody who he knows can play, right? An established player rather than somebody who might be able to play 2-3 years from now. Might be better, might not be. He's taking the definite.
Yeah, and look, that's where things can be dangerous, right? When a guy's like, listen, this isn't my car, I'm driving anyway. That's things can get a little bit reckless there. Do you feel, and this, I think deadlines are fun. Like, I think the baseball deadline has actually routinely, or at least for a long time, was the best at delivering deals, right, relative to the NFL or the NBA. You could speak better to how the NHL deadline kind of usually checks in. I do think that the expanded format of the postseason cost us, more explosive deadlines than what we're used to in the past.
Yes. I mean, just by mathematics alone, you have more teams involved. How many teams are within 3-4 games of the wild card, the National League? 9? That doesn't even count the division leaders. That's 12. So now you have what? 3 teams that are theoretically out of it. They have no chance, right? So those are your dealers there. And you'll have a couple of surprise teams that'll deal teams away. So yes, it's a yin-yang, right? Okay, more teams playing, have something to play for, good for the fans, but we don't get the deadline deals that we'd like because of that, because more teams are involved here. The NHL, by the way, NHL, NBA, and MLB are generally all good for deadlines, right? They all. NFL, it's probably the one thing they don't do well, right? The one thing they don't do well is the deadline. They're getting better at it. All right, they're trying to make it a little later in the season, get things happening. But we also understand the NFL. You got to know the system. It's a little harder to come in there and make for a player who's not on the team, who doesn't know the coach, to make an impact. I get that there. I thought the Major League Baseball deadline was fun. I didn't think it was great. All right, we didn't get the big mega deals we were hoping for, and maybe they weren't out there to be made no matter what. But it was entertaining for the last 4 or 5 days. So it is what it is. As a Yankee fan, I'm disappointed. I said the bait and switch. Love the Jazz Chisholm deal, although I said it many times. I wondered if this was a deal more for 25 and 26 when they get they get a center field if they need, or they get a second baseman to protect Torres. I was wondering if it was more of a future deal than for this season. And now to seeing Cashman not do anything today, or not do much today, I'm starting to think that's all the Jazz deal was more of a future deal, not for this year.
Which is, I don't know how to handle that then, right? Because in one way, it's smart to be proactive, and I'm very happy to see Jazz Chisholm just as a Yankee fan here, because George can speak to this. He's not a typical Yankee, which is great. Like all the stuff, like all the reasons why, I know at least, there's a lot of fans out there that are fans of the Yankees. None of that applies to me. And Jazz Chisholm goes against that, which is great. I want him to bat flip home runs when they're losing by 7 runs, quite frankly. I want him to keep stealing bases on his own when they're up by 9, right? So that's great for me. But also, the Yankees just continuously doing this like, we don't really need to win a World Series. 95 games, 1 postseason series. Like, that's just an odd spot to be in. It's an odd spot to complain about, but it is odd. George, let me ask you this quickly, because you did tell me this kind of during the break. You think that Soto actually ends up not with the Yankees at the end of this season?
I want him to on the Yankees. Let me say that straight. I want him to stay here. Now, okay, I'm going to stay, have to pay him. Hal is not George. All right, he is not his father. He doesn't look at things the same way. I think Cohen is going to make a monster offer. And I think Hal's going to use that as an excuse to say to the Yankee fans, to say to you and I why. Well, listen, he offered him $625 million. I thought that was nuts. That would hurt us, He doesn't think you need $300 million payroll to win. You think he wants to pay Soto double that? I just don't. I don't think he wants to pay Soto double what Judge is making. So, no, I don't think he's going to end up with I want him to, and I'm not saying it's a definite, by the way. But if I had to put it, the odds, I'd probably put 60-40 that he's not with the Yankees next year. I think it's only the Yankees or Mets, by the way. I don't think there's anybody else. I don't think he's not going with the Dodgers. They're not spending another $600 million. I think it's either the Yankees or the Mets. Phillies aren't going to spend that money. They don't really need him. Too many other high-priced contracts. I don't see Boston getting involved. So I think it's going to be still in New York, but unfortunately, I think it's going to be in Queens.
Man, he ends up with the Mets. That's going to be real funny. I'm going to be real mean to Yankee fans, despite being a Yankee fan, because that is how I am when it comes to this organization. George, you have an extra minute. I might want to get some Cowboys questions out of you. Fantastic.
Oh, good.
George, you can
More
always
fun.
count on. Set him up to knock him down. We'll do it next here. Game Time Decisions.
When it comes to betting on sports, injuries matter, and Sports Injury Central has you covered all year long with expert injury analysis and injury-based picks for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Our former pro sports doctors have unmatched experience to analyze every injury so you know the impact of the player, team, and their upcoming matchup. Whether it's articles, podcasts, player insights, or our patented injury scores, Sports Injury Central will help you keep up with your fantasy team and make more informed wagers. So make sure you follow Sports Injury Central and gain an edge at sixscore.com.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right, we're live right here on SportsGrid. A base knock with a man on from Rafael Devers, but Yoshida does not have the wheels to score, which would have hit an RBI prop. That's all right. That's baseball. We'll live and we'll learn. Let's talk some football here before we let George get out of the way. And before we talk Cowboys, George, look, we just saw a wide receiver get paid. It is possible. DJ I can't help myself. DJ Moore gets a deal with the Chicago Bears. We heard Caleb Williams, and none of the starters are going to play in the Hall of Fame game. Have you kind of started to shape your opinion and expectations of this Bears team for the upcoming season?
Well, as always, it'll be how fast can Caleb Williams become that quarterback? Does it take him half a season, 3/4 of a season, a year? They've really revamped the offense. You have to like what they've done, right? I'm excited for the Bears. They've been an also-ran team for a long time now, and now they might have the best quarterback. I mean, theoretically, this should be the best quarterback in their history. All right. So, yes, I'm looking forward to it, the Bears. That being said, it's a rough division, right? Green Bay, good team. All right. Detroit, maybe the Super Bowl favorite out of the NFC. I don't think so. Probably San Fran for me. But still, they're right there. They probably should have been in the Super Bowl last year. Tough division. This might be more of a learning year for the Bears. I think we're going to find out more from the Bears next year. I don't think they'll make the playoffs this year, but I think they'll be, that 7-win team somewhere around there. But next year is where I expect to make the bigger leap.
Yeah, I think it's on the board this year, right? I mean, it's definitely an upgrade. I think one of the big questions is not Caleb, but it's Matt Eberflus, and is what he got out of that defense in the second half of the year real? Because that was a big turning point for that Bears team, is all of a sudden that defense looked fantastic. I was alluding to, of course, the Dallas Cowboys with George here, and look, he knows the Cowboys very well. George, the amount of odd things Dallas has going on is even odd for Dallas, right? Like, listen, Cowboys and headlines, they go hand in hand, but the Dak situation, I'm trying to even come up with a comparable one, and I can't necessarily do it. And then we've got this situation. We know at some point Micah Parsons is going to have to get paid, and it can't be super encouraging for him watching them not figure out what to do with CeeDee Lamb. What do you make of everything going on with Dallas right now?
Strange. All right. We'll start with Dak. All right. And listen, Kev, I'm not a Dak guy. I'm not. He's a good quarterback, but we've seen what Dak can do. All right. Yes, he'll beat up on the division. He'll beat up on lesser teams, but he folds in bigger games. Right? He just does. The numbers all tell you that. We've all seen the playoffs the past 3 years. All right. This is not news. I shouldn't be breaking this to anybody. That being said, if you don't sign Dak, Kev, can you throw a football? You want to wear a star on the helmet? Who's quarterbacking for the Cowboys? They literally have nobody at quarterback next year. They're all three quarterbacks, Dak, Cooper Rush, and Trey Lance. They're all done this year. So who's quarterbacking next year? And as much as I'm on the Cowboy under this year, it was 10.5 originally. I think it's 9.5 now. So a lot of people are on the under here. They're not going to be a 3-4 win team. So you're not getting a top pick here. They're probably going to have around 8-9 wins, going to put you somewhere in the teens. You're not getting a top quarterback next year. So I don't know what the hell they're doing. Even though Stephen Jones keeps saying, oh, yeah, we're talking about it. We had good conversations. What the hell does that mean? All right, so I don't know what's going on with Dak. CeeDee Lamb is it's ridiculous. You have the parameters of a deal. All right, Jefferson got done. It doesn't matter if Jefferson's better than CeeDee Lamb. None of this matters. Anyone think that Love or Tua is better than Patrick Mahomes? No, but they were the latest free agents. CeeDee's going to get more than JJ. All right, so give him $36 million and let's get this wrapped up. All right, and Micah Parsons, you don't have to get him done, right? And you can sort of play one against the other, Parsons against CeeDee, because one can get the franchise. All right, so really, which guy wants to sign first for a better deal for the team? I wonder this. They're not signing any of these guys. The Cowboys spent the last 3 years the least amount of money in the NFL as far as cash. Do the Jones have a cash problem? It sounds ridiculous. It's the Dallas Cowboys. Or is he just cheap? Is he just cheap? Is that what it is? All right? I'm the poker player here. Jerry Jones' definition of all in is not mine, Kevin. Not mine at all.
Yeah,
and I'm sure you're really disappointed being an Eagles fan about this.
Okay. This has nothing to do with the Eagles. And I'm not sure I don't think Dallas will ever consider it because of, one, they are the Cowboys, and two, Jerry does have a desire to win, even if he doesn't go about it incredibly. But truly, if the CeeDee Lamb situation is just so tough, trade him. And trade Parsons too. And trade Dak too. And do the process. Because I actually think that if some team was bold enough in the NFL, it would work. Because of the value that you get still when trading guys that need deals. But that's not going to happen. Enjoy the double-digit wins, George. Enjoy the first or second round exit. And then enjoy what will be another bizarre offseason. Kurt, it's great to have you. I'm sure you loved it. We'll be right back here, Game Time Decisions.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and I have my respect, and I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this thing all the way to the top now.
All right, it's Game Time Decisions. We're here on a Tuesday night. 4-1 Philadelphia, 4-0 Baltimore. Up on the Blue Jays right now. The selling Miami Marlins up 2-0 on the selling Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa Bay. We've got bases juiced in Cincy here going up against the Cubbies, but there are two outs. Nerfy backers on the edge of their seat. A Nerfy in Queens with the Mets and the Twins currently at 0-0. If you're anyone misses the soccer, 1-0 right now. Mariners up on the Boston Red Sox. Consig, great to see here. Padres gear on. It looks like they made, I guess, the biggest or second biggest move of the deadline. How you feeling?
Good. Yeah, we got a lot of West Coast baseball tonight to talk about later, both here and on In Game Live. So that'll be fun. Yeah, I like what the Padres did. Listen, I like what the Orioles did. Dare I say, even like what the Pirates did a little bit. Now, there was no major deal. What was your big takeaway from today, trade deadline deals?
My big takeaway was that we didn't get any superstars dealt, right? I think Jack Flaherty is solid. I'm not going to try and downplay it. I think had the Yankees made that move, that would have been exciting. I also think because it would have shown a level of aggression from the Yankees that the Dodgers consistently show. Because the Dodgers show up every year being like, yeah, we better win the World Series. The Yankees show up every year like, man, that'd be nice if we could do that, which is the same attitude that 24 other teams have, which is a little ridiculous, I think, in some fashion there. So I think that, no Crochet, no Louis Robert, no Vladdy Jr., no Blake Snell, right? It wasn't star-studded. It wasn't star-studded. And I'll say this, as somebody who doesn't mind increasing postseason slots, definitely a negative, though, if it means we're not going to get as many sellers, because I love a good deadline. I love a good deadline with big names flying around.
True, but I think a lot of teams either looked themselves in the mirror and said, maybe not sure. We're not going to, make that big splashy move. And I think a lot of other teams filled spots. We need another arm out of the bullpen. I mean, the Padres move to get Rogers, I think it is, short up their bullpen. I mean, they went from making their weakness their strength. And whether it was with a star or not, I think a couple other teams did the same thing. So it's pretty – I don't think anything moved as far as numbers go. And I don't think anything went – like I would almost say the biggest news today individually game-wise is that Cole was scratched from the start for some
Yes.
reason, and right? What was that?
I mean, they said fatigue. I guess, sure. Not
Okay.
great. I hope anybody that bet that game put the little action, both starters
Listed.
tab on it.
Yeah.
I had initially looked at that game for an under at the 9.5. I didn't bet it once the Cole news came in. Not that I thought it meant it would go over, and it doesn't mean it's still going to go over, but that changes things. Yeah, you're right. That again, is that the biggest thing that happened on MLB trade deadline day, that Garrett Cole didn't make a start?
Kansas City made a couple moves that I think if you're a Kansas City Royal fan or you're holding the Kansas City Royals to make the playoffs, I think you're feeling pretty good about it. The San Diego moves showed me that I think, obviously, the Giants are sellers. The Diamondbacks are lurking, and an unbelievable comeback win again last night. They didn't make any big splashy moves, but trying to figure out how many teams are coming out of the playoffs. Like the Mets did okay today. Nothing major, but the Mets are around. The National League wild card is going to be very interesting the rest of the season, because I don't know. I still think the Central may only get one team, the division winner. 2 from the East and 1 from the West, or 2 from the West and 1 from the East. I don't know if the Cardinals are going to try to sell you that they did something today. I don't know. Not crazy about it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. I think, just also just kind of looking at it too, right? When we say, oh, we didn't get big moves because of the expanded playoff format, if I shrunk it back realistically, right?
Yep.
Are we going to, I don't know how many, it's not like the Cardinals would have sold, the Royals wouldn't have sold. Would Boston have been selling if we shrunk the format? Because they're 5 back of the Yankees? I don't think so. Right?
I don't think so. I think the divisions still, so 2-game series tonight in San Diego with the Dodgers. If the Dodgers lose both, the Padres are 4 back. It doesn't feel like it before today. I think a lot of people are going to start to pay attention to baseball starting today, where we've been, I follow it every day. You're pretty dialed into it every day. The boys, behind the scenes here are dialed into it every day with the play of the day and different things like that, props. But I think some new people into the market will come in and go, wow, really? Kansas City's right there? Like they could make the playoffs? Yeah, they could. Could another team in the American League Central make the playoffs? Yes. I guess the Twins. The Guardians are.
Oh.
Right? What did I do? Made you think of something. What?
Well, you were saying Central, and it clicked Pirates, right? I'm just going to throw this out there to people. We're going to go right back. But
give it to them.
It's at the top of the show. How many situations, National League only,
okay,
then that we're doing World Series, is Paul Skeens not favored, right? Road, team, starter. Put it away. We'll do it after the break. We'll do it after the break. We'll do the movement, all that. We'll do it all. Guardians, it would be really surprising if they didn't make that. I'll just tell you, on a daily basis, the Minnesota Twins are booked like they're winning the World Series, I feel. I feel like they get so much respect on every single line in SIG.
I couldn't agree more. I wonder all the time about that. Have wondered it in the past. Now, granted, going into the playoffs last season, really liked where they were, and they were able to set up the rotation right and thought they legitimately had a shot to get to the ALCS, and they fell a little bit short. I'm not so sure now. I really am not. And then, you talk about price today. They're playing the Mets. It's a pick 'em game. I don't know if anybody's paying attention to the Mets. The Mets, really good baseball team. Most wins in July. Making moves, or most wins in June, a lot of wins in July. They're not going away. And prior to this season, they told you the Mets weren't going to try or going to, lose more games than they were going to win. They're going to be there right to the end. I'm impressed with the Mets.
I'll give you my Mets take, and I don't say this with any slander. I actually have no issue with the only time the Mets will bother me is when they're doing much better than the Yankees, and then Mets fans are like, we own the city. It's like, it's not how that works.
Hold on.
I think they can get in, certainly. I think they would be a fade if they get there, though.
Fair.
I'm not sure I buy Sevy as the top guy in that rotation, and I know I don't buy anything behind him right now.
Big injury with the calf, out for the rest of the season. Not a part of the rotation for Senga. So that.
Oh, Senga, yeah.
I mean, there's
I thought you
another
were saying
guy.
Sevy for a second.
No. But that's one of those ones that I think you have to put in the memory banks and go, yeah, they may make that push, but yes, I'm with you as of right now. Fade in the playoffs, not play on.
Yeah. Quick break. Here's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Updated scores.
Yes.
Updated NL Cy Young odds.
Love it.
How many spots in the National League is Paul Skeens a dog? That's next right here. It's Game Time Decisions.
What has happened? What has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado? It wasn't just a big night of fights. It was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Left hand from Rob Paul. Right hand right back from Mike Perry.
Can I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah, we'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the top.
Combat fighting in its purest form. Bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, so yesterday we saw Zach Wheeler lit up. Call it what it is. Lit up by the New York Yankees. 3 innings, 7 earned runs. And Paul Skeens, not out of this world, but still really good in a start up against the Houston Astros. Now, I know some people lost on some strikeout props, which is unfortunate, but he went 6 innings and 1 earned run with 6 strikeouts, still pitching to a 1.9 ERA. Paul Skeens now on FanDuel down to plus 155. Chris Sale sits in front of him, Dave. Only Chris Sale at plus 110.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that was the 2-game parlay situation where Wheeler gets beat up, another quality start. They can't score when he pitches. Man, it's like every inning just waiting for him to just get 2. We used to tell the kids sometimes when one of our best pitchers was going, just get us 3 today because that's going to be enough. She's only given up 2. You knew yesterday after he got out of an inning with a double play where Brian Hayes made a catch at third and threw from his his rear end to second, and they turned it. I was like, that's it. They got to get another run. Ended up getting a late run to tie it, 3-run homer to win it. Bednar, big sweat. And Skeens, numbers got to come down, Kevin. He's got to come down. It's one of those ones again where talked about it a while ago, repeated it over and over. Now you're looking at, man, if you don't have a ticket on sale in Wheeler at this point, just to make sure that you have it locked up, lock it up. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I think the best thing is, though, again, all depending on when people got in, the dream scenario is it becomes a two-man race.
Yes.
And then if you'd like, you play sale and you wash your hands of it. Because for me, I still don't love leaving it up to the voters, right? Because that'll be devastating. That'll be devastating. Now, I've built a little list here. I took a little bit of what was said behind the scenes of dog spots for Paul Skeens. National League only because, I don't want to go too deep, right? Because, again, like then we're going World Series, right? Here's my fringe. Here's my fringe, Dave.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All on the road. I think he's favored. There's only one spot I would suggest Paul Skeens is a home dog. We'll get to there when we get to there, okay? At San Diego, Dylan Cease on the mound.
Okay. Yes. Dog.
What do you think? Dog, okay?
Yep.
At Cincinnati, Hunter Green on the mound.
Personally, I'd make him a favorite. Small.
I think he would be favored.
125. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
At Arizona, Zach Gallen has the baseball.
Pick him.
Okay.
Pick him. I mean, like, if you catch Arizona right now, the way they're scoring runs, the way they're winning games, I don't know. I mean, they just got 2 out of 3 down there. Keller was a plus money dog in a game that I thought was pick 'em. Might be pick 'em, might be 105, 115, somewhere in that neighborhood either way.
Okay. I did throw at the Mets with Severino there, but I think Skeens is favored in that game.
I think so. Small.
And then at Milwaukee with Freddie Peralta, who's really not been all that great this season, but he's still pedigree, and the Brewers are still a 60-plus win team.
The Brewers with Peralta got to be favored. The Pirates, that's one of their house of horrors. They had a couple big wins, but they're this season. But historically, no. Brewers small.
Okay. Now, the big dogs would be the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Phillies. We'll go Braves first. I think 100% dog at Atlanta with Chris Sale on the mound.
No question.
What about with Max Fried on the mound?
Dog.
Okay. Not Ronaldo. Lopez is injured. What do you think of Ronaldo Lopez? Close. Doesn't have the same
It
pedigree.
might be. It might be picked. Might start Atlanta favored, like minus 115.
And then comes
somewhere
back
in that neighborhood, and let them bet us up that way.
Do you think in Pittsburgh, Sale's favored?
No.
I don't either.
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't.
That's not the spot for me. There's one spot. That's not the spot for me. At Zach Wheeler and Philly, I think he's a dog. Do you think he's a dog
100%.
against Aaron Nola?
Yep. Small.
I think so too. Based on the Yanks game being pick kind of today.
Yeah.
With Garrett Cole supposed to be on the mound, I think Nola's there. Favored at home against Wheeler?
Yes. Pick them maybe. I mean, we could go pick. We could go Phillies minus 115 and let them bet us. But I'd rather start the Pirates at minus and let them take the Phillies and ask why, how, all of that afterward when the Pirates win that game. Yeah.
That total's got to be real low. That's 7 minus
7?
130. Minus
Easy.
130. Let him, you know what I mean? Kind of situation.
Might dangle 6.5 in that situation. Might dangle 6.5 in that situation.
We'll do that. Remember what we did with the hockey, though, where it was just like, you play the 7, we won't pay it out. You know what I'm saying? If it lands 7, it's not landing 8.
Good with that? Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
here's what's left. The Dodgers.
Yep.
Okay? Glass now on the mound, dog.
Absolutely.
Yamamoto, weird with the injury stuff.
Tough. I mean, him with the injury stuff, Kershaw with the injury stuff. I don't know anybody else.
Kershaw was the other one I had on the list.
Right. That's it.
I didn't put Buehler on the list. I didn't put Jack Flaherty on the list.
Nope, can't. No way. Not with what he's doing. They win when he pitches. No.
I do think slight to Yamamoto and Kershaw. I do think if the Dodgers show up in Pittsburgh and Glasnow's on the mound, the Dodgers should be favored over Paul Skeens.
100%. Agree with you 100%.
Well, that's the list.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice
that's
work.
The list.
Nice work. Are we gonna talk a little bit the next segment about the Olympic basketball? I stayed up last night, 3:00 in the morning, watching Spain and Greece.
Yeah. I got a good one for you.
I can't wait to hear.
We talked about it. The upset. Moving. We'll get to it right back here on Tuesday.
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here, warriors, and I have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we arrive here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City. Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight. Early on the tower.
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
All right, so we're here. It's Game Time Decisions. My man Consig was locking into some Olympic basketball. And, man, I'm glad. Patience, it worked out. What am I referring to? I'm referring to the most points, kind of where money needed to be placed. The Giannis number was up to 30.5. And sometimes, again, it's all about how much you want to pay attention to it, right? And I know people right now are spread thin because they're doing all the Olympics. I know people are not paying that much of the attention. You guys know where I am, right? The Olympic basketball. I'm well aware that Giannis' points prop opened up. Now, it was a huge mistake, but still at 16.5 against Canada. So 30.5 against Spain, we've done a lot now. So that under ended up working out. A Giannis under, right? Okay, that could open up the field. The real reality is, and Dave, this is what you and I talked about, well, what if he loses? He lost. Giannis is now supposed to only play 3 games. The second option's SGA. I'm not sure he's going to be favored to lead his team in scoring when they reopen those numbers. because R.J. Barrett's up 10 on him. It's a gap that can be closed.
Right.
But I'm just saying that's going to be close to even both ways. It really is.
Okay.
So I think you're now looking at a scenario. I don't know what the books are really going to do here. I don't have a really good gauge whatsoever as to what those updated numbers are going to look like for total points at the Olympics. Now, tomorrow, they don't open them until tomorrow's games are finished. It's going to matter a lot what LeBron and Durant do.
Right. So we don't have any worry about the U.S. playing the maximum number of games. We only worry there is who gets the maximum number of minutes with the ball and the ability to score. Because which one of them, LeBron may pass a little bit more. I don't know. What I saw last night was a fun, entertaining, 3-point dominant game. I would love to have a guy on one of those teams if I knew he was going to play more games. And I don't know. I don't think, your U.S. guys, which one do you favor?
LeBron is the slight favorite. And let me say, again, I know people don't think that I don't really care, whatever. I'm very honest with LeBron stuff. He wants MVP of this team. He wants this to be his basketball team. It is his basketball team. He doesn't need to lead them in scoring in order to win MVP. 9 assists, 7 rebounds. He nearly led this team in every statistical category in game 1. He was 2 points off Durant and a rebound off AD, and obviously he led them in assists. LeBron is going to finish top 5 in total points, rebounds, and assists at this tournament. So my point is he doesn't have to lead them in assists. But I don't know what Durant's probably going into the starting lineup, Dave. I don't know if that helps his workload.
Right.
So it gets interesting then.
Ooh.
I think Steph still has the highest single game ceiling.
Yes.
He's 12-1 for 25 tomorrow. I'm interested.
Is he fine? That was just they banged knees. He's health wise, he's fine, right? I don't.
Yeah.
Does the Tatum not playing no minutes mess up the rotation because he has to play extra minutes in this game?
Well, it's a great question, right? How many minutes does Tatum need to play in order for everybody to be happy? And whose minutes are getting cut? Little Drew, little Booker, little Derek White. Durant only played 17. They're not cutting the Durant minutes; they're upping the Durant minutes.
Correct.
And and listen, he's been bad. Embiid only played 11. They probably would want to get him a little more minutes as well.
Less.
So it's going to be a fun one. I haven't placed anything yet. I'll tell people this, and make sure you're with Dave in Game Live tonight. The early look, though, is going back to AD, who dominates small teams. They dropped his points rebounds number to 19.5. He's plus 260 for the double-double. I think AD is still interesting in those markets, and then I'll probably chase that top of ceiling with Steph. Those are some good numbers there, Dave. We'll have them send that over to you. Any
yes,
US
sir.
player scored 35, 14-1.
Wow.
Whole tournament.
Oh, whole tournament. I thought you meant the next game. I would bet the yes. Somebody's going to light it up. Listen, I got to go. Close it out strong. Do the best. I'll see you later.
My man. All right, we'll see you guys in a week. I'm going to San Diego. Appropriate.